The 18th Congress will convene on Monday, the same day President Duterte will deliver his State of the Nation address. At the House of Representatives, the president has the supermajority to push for his priority bills. But the opposition vows not to be cowed by numbers. Let's go on the record. I'm Ruth Cabal. Our guests this week, Bayan Muna Representative Carlos Zarate, Albay Representative Joey Salceda, and Capiz Representative Fredinil Castro. Good evening, gentlemen, and welcome to On the Record.
Good evening. Good evening.
Okay, the 18th Congress opens on Monday, like what we said earlier. Number one question, sino po ang magiging bagong House Speaker? Baka naman magkagulatan na naman like the last time. Kong Joey.
Definitely it's Alan, kay Peter Cayetano, and then si Majority Leader will be Martin Romualdez. And then si Ungab will be Chair ng APRO. And then I think Lord Velasco prefers Committee on Energy. So we're pretty much set for a smooth opening on Monday.
100% na ba yan? Kasi of course, in the past, we heard si Congressman incoming Paulo Duterte hinting of a possible coup, although President Duterte is saying that's wishful thinking. Kuna agad, ano? Wala pang ano. Oo. So sure na ba yun? Susunod ba?
Yeah, sure na.
Well, insofar as I'm concerned, while I am almost tempted to adopt the statement of Congressman Salceda in verbatim, I say that presumably, because in Congress, you know, nobody is a speaker, nobody is an official of the House of Representatives unless and until that he is elected. Therefore, presumably, everybody will be elected.
And that the election will still happen on Monday. Si Kong Zarate is also the Makabayan Bloc's nominee for speakership.
Yes, Ruth, on the record, ang Makabayan Bloc ay iko-contest pa rin yung usapin ng speakership. Although we know that this is a numbers game. And we have been saying this all along that we are here to, you know, offer an alternative and to make a political statement also at the same time na yung speakership naman ay pwede ring tumakbo yung isang makabayan na mag-offer ng alternative at pag-usapan yung mga issues of the day instead of just talking about who gets the blessing of the President.
And what do you say about that? Na parang talagang hinihintay talaga yung blessing or nomination ni President Duterte, even if it's supposed to be, you know, an independent institution.
I think that has been ang kagawian na in the past, no? But I think na it's unprecedented this time because the President announced it publicly that your speaker is Alan Peter Cayetano, no? Despite the fact that he said previously that ayaw na niya makialam, bahala na kayo maglabo-labo dyan. But then probably he wants to, sabi nga na, payapain yung banggaan ng different factions within the supermajority coalition. And yun, he suggested or he appointed the next speaker, including the majority leader, in fact. No? So, yun, that speaks so much about how the dealings in Congress in relation to the executive is.
Dalawang bagay yan. Yung, number one, yung pronouncement. Kasi 156 ang neophyte congressmen, of which 112 are totally newcomers. 44 are returnees. Tapos, there are 97 second-termers and 52 third-termers. So, kailangan talaga ng linaw or they're looking for a guiding light. Pangalawa, tatlong magagaling na tao yung naglaban-laban. So, yan yung unang bagay kung bakit kailangan, kumbaga sa ano, the President has to reverse his pronouncement na hindi siya mag-anoint. Pangalawa, ang talagang tunay na bago doon ay term sharing. Hindi pa yung nangyari sa buong history ng Pilipinas. So,
sa speakership,
sa leadership ng House. Pero ang point ko naman dyan, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. You know, the House, despite the so-called being how they call that, the House of Duterte. We delivered the reforms. We delivered 25 of the SONA commitments, although 5 failed. Tsaka pangalawa, may democratic space. There are 15 major significant laws like universal free college. Yan wala ko sa priorities ng administration. So, ang tingin ko, ang independence ng House, although sabihin natin na, pero traditional yun na kumbaga there's a history of executive intervention because we have to work together. Kaya that the kind of situation argues for a parliamentary form of government for this country.
But Kong, in the past, I just forget anong bill to, Congressman, yung may parts na parang na railroad yung ibang measures. I remember there was one na si Congressman Tino was standing up for that certain...
For example, nung first regular session natin, about sa train, the ratification of the train, I can remember that was December 13, Christmas party ng House yun at saka Senate. Wala na talaga kaming quorum sa House. No? And dumating yung bill from the Senate for ratification. Then we questioned the quorum. But then again, pinatayan kami ng microphone, nagsisigaw kami doon.
Kagagawan niya yun.
So,
mga ganung instances, di ba? It's supposed to be a democrat. You were saying there's democratic space
I can only admit that there was irregularity if it was proven that there was irregularity. That remains to be, that simply remains to be an accusation that has never been proved. Insofar as the independence of the House of Representatives is concerned, as an independent body from the executive, I still maintain that it is an independent branch of the government. Why? While it is true that the President has already announced his recommendation, it is simply a recommendation. With that recommendation, the House remains to be independent because if you take it in conjunction with the later statement of the President that the choice of the speakership will still be the lawmaker's prerogative. And then the latest statement of the President is to the effect that he will hold no offense against any member or all members or all lawmakers who will not heed his advice or his suggestion to vote for his preference. Still, that shows that House of Representatives is an independent, is an independent branch of the government.
Exactly. So I agree, no? Until the votes are counted on Monday, talagang tingin ko rito, kahit na in-announce na ni Kong Joey na meron ng presumptive speaker, I think on Monday, marami pa rin mga kaganapan na dapat abangan ang susunod na kabanata dahil sa tingin ko, hindi pa rin na-settle ng majority coalition yung kanilang mga awayan dyan, quote-unquote. No? Halimbawa, siyempre, awayan dyan sa mga committees, major committees, hindi pa na-settle yan. And yung mga statement in the past, no, na mayroon pang coup on Monday. So, I agree with Kong Fred. No? Habang hindi pa nabibilang, is just a presumption na settled na yung issue ng speakership.
Pagdating doon sa sinasabi niya sa awayan sa committees, very clear naman po yung, kumbaga sa conditions. One, seniority rules. So, first termer, second termer, so sinabi ko na sa third.
Who's doing the appropriations? Who's heading the appropriations?
UNGAB.
Okay, UNGAB. And then you have the Ways and Means?
There are two
So
girls
yan, di pa
fighting
na-settle.
for
Okay.
Tatlo.
Okay.
Pero sa opening, hindi naman kailangan ma-nominate yun Pero pangalawa, there are 52 senior third termers. And there are at least 112, I think I counted, na senior positions in Congress. There's enough for the seniors.
How about, let's talk about the Sara Duterte card.
Is not attending tomorrow?
Yeah, she said
Monday,
she's
yes,
not. Yeah. But what happened in the last Congress, they were saying...
Yung tatay na kasi nagsalita Kung hindi nagsalita si Presidente, sa tingin ko masusunod siya.
Okay. And talking about independence, si Congressman Castro is in the running for minority
Magkalaban to
leader. Kaya nga So, paano yan?
Ruth, for
But
that,
you're being seen largely as an ally of the president. So, how can you be...
first I would say that for that,
minority.
I am very thankful to my esteemed colleague, the financial guru of the House of Representatives, for having first nominated me as his choice for the minority leader. But I don't know whether his nomination will bear fruit this coming Monday.
May Parinas doctrine kasi na nakarating yung Supreme Court. It's really the second...
Na matatalo, di ba, sir?
Kaya there is such a thing as minority to the majority and there's minority opposition. Siya yun.
Yeah.
So
pati yun, hindi lang pala speaker talaga ang pinag-aawayan.
we welcome minority opposition. The liveliest debates I've had in Congress when I defend the budget, the macroeconomic principles, it's really with him actually. Hindi niya ako binibitiwan. At saka hindi ako dismissive sa kanilang mga tanong. Talagang sinasagot ko po na kaya din naman defensible and very feasible naman yung position po ng administration. So pangalawa, it enhances the quality of the legislation. Kasi kung wala sila, we might miss out on those missteps that eventually will essentially hindi ma-achieve yung goals.
Okay, pasagutin natin si Congressman Zurate. Let's take a break first. For those watching us online, you can join the discussion. We're live on Facebook. Send us your comments or questions and we'll read them within the program. You're on the record on CNN Philippines. You're on the record on CNN Philippines. Still with us, Bayan Munay Representative Carla Zurate, Albay Representative Joey Salceda, and Capiz Representative Fredenil Castro. We're talking about, napag-usapan na natin yung House Speaker, yung minority leader. Anong masasabi niyo kung Zurate?
Yeah, ang tradisyon talaga dyan, Ruth, in the past, kung sino yung kumuha ng second highest votes,
Yes.
yun na yung agad minority leader. But in the 17th Congress, naging question yan. No? So,
nakarating ng Supreme Court.
Kaya sa rules ngayon, ang nakalagay sa rules namin, sino yung bumoto in favor of the winning speaker, yun yung majority. Lahat na hindi bumoto pabor sa kanya or nag-abstain ka, yun yung minority. No? Kaya under the rules, yung minority naman, pipili sila ng kanilang minority leader. No? So having said that, sa tingin ko in the next 3 years, mahalaga na hayaan din ng leadership. No? Yung minority, pumili ng kanilang minority leader. No? Sabi nga namin, kami andyan naman, we are offering our selves no? Doon sa usapin na yan. Kung pipiliin ng mga kasama lang sa minority, so be it. No? But ang mahalaga, ang nag-uusap dito yung minority. Hindi yung nakaraan na parang sa 17th Congress kasi kaya dumating ng Supreme Court, matagal kaming walang minority leader. Eventually, sabi ng majority, we recognize the group of Congressman Suarez, no? So, yun yung nangyari sa 17th
And
Congress.
Suarez voted for then Speaker Arroyo.
Yes, Alvarez, no?
Yeah.
Kaya, then he resigned from the majority and
then
joined
kay
the minority.
Arroyo.
And si Speaker Alvarez, I recalled, he abstained. So, under our rules, kung nag-abstain ka, part ka rin ng minority. Kaya nagkagulo yun. But, kaya, bahalaga, dahil itong naiiwang 3 taon, ang daming mabibigat na mga usapin dito, no? At kailangan na buhay yung pagiging deliberative ng Kongreso at kailangan ang pag-uusapan dito ay mailahad sa mamamayan. Halimbawa sa usapin ng Chacha. Paano namang maging buhay ang debate dyan kung ang majority leader at ang minority leader parehong tinutulak yung pagbabago ng saligang batas. Ano? At kami sa tingin
Walang
namin,
kukontra.
oo, delikado yun dahil itong pagbabago ng saligang batas ay hindi lang naman ito tayo ang maapektuhan ngayon, kundi sa pangmahabang panahon. No? At maraming mga provisions dito na ang kanyang epekto ay napakahaba. Diba? Yung pagbabago ng ating protectionist provisions sa ating national patrimony, national sovereignty, even social justice and human rights. Kaya ito yung magiging tindig namin na ngayon pa lang, nilalatag na namin no? Kung sino man ang mananalong speaker sa Monday, July 22, dapat hayaan din ng liderato ng Kamara na yung minority ang mag-uusap doon, yung talagang minority. No? At in fact, mas maganda na ang minority leader ay yung tumitindig as fiscalizer no? Sa House at yung titindig para doon sa mga binabalak ng present administration.
I am sure that the fears of Congressman Caloy Zurate will not be in vain. Because I am sure that he will be satisfied of the performance of the minority leader if he votes for me.
Pero alam mo, nakakapayaman din ng isip ng legislation. Dahil last budget ako yung tumayo na nagdepensa. So bago ma-close ang debate, kailangan yung minority nakapagtanong na. Then, yung makabayan black na nakapagtanong na. At saka yung Magnificent Seven. Matakay mo, 3 ang didepensahan ko. Paminsan-minsan may majority pa. Pero ang point ko dyan is papayama po ng ating pong legislation yung
Yung healthy discussion and debates like that. Yeah.
the presence of a minority or even an opposition minority to oppose, not to topple.
Yeah.
Yun lang naman yung difference niyan eh.
Okay, so ngayon, let's cross party lines and yung most important work of the House of Representatives. Anong priority legislation?
Tingin ko trabaho. Yung ayaw niya yun.
Tax.
Yung
Pero
second
reduces
tranche
the
of
corporate income tax
training.
from 30 to 20 in 9 years. Tapos pangalawa, PSA. Approve na yun sa amin, napunta sa taas. Tapos yung tax on alcohol. Then fiscal regime for mining industry. Then 5 is puro liberalization. Masakit sa tenga niya.
Pero favorite nyo, being
retail
economist.
liberalization. And then foreign investment liberalization. And I'm sure constitutional change. I'm really sure that we will land with supermajority in the Senate, 87% approval
In the Senate
rating,
also, yeah.
and a Duterte super coalition in the House. I think the
Papasa na yung
people better
federalism.
be more participative and vigilant like him to
There
ensure
goes the very reason bakit kailangan yung minority ay ang titindig doon, oposisyon. No? Dahil ito yung mabibigat na mga panukalang batas, no? That will further open our economy sa control and exploitation ng foreign capital. And ang sa amin, in contrast talaga, dahil ang priority namin, Ruth, is sahod, no? National minimum wage. Dahil lahat na pinagbibigyan yung kapital, pero ang mga manggagawa hanggang ngayon, bansot yung sweldo nila. No? So, una yan. Dapat atupagin din natin yung problema ng ating mga magsasaka ngayon.
Yeah.
Pinasa ng 17th Congress ang Rice Tarification Law. Ano nangyari ngayon? Halos mamamatay na yung ating mga magsasaka at there is now a talk coming from the Secretary of Agriculture himself. No? Pwede bang i-suspend yung effect nitong Rice Tarification Law? And there goes, taxes. No? Dahil itong train na ito, 5 bagon ata ito. No? Isa pa lang yung lumusot, train 1. So there are more 4 taxes na ipapasa. No? So,
may ka-agree kami doon sa agriculture. Kasi bumagsak po yung retail price ng rice sa Manila by 12.50.
yeah.
Tapos yung farm gate prices, yung buying prices ng mga from the farmers
Palay.
to the traders, I think nasa 17.40, bumagsak din ng 5 pesos and 20 centavos. So there's really concern for that particular sector
So,
especially.
possible amendments na agad kung kahit kakapasa
4 months pa lang.
Yeah,
no?
oo.
And yung sinasabi kasi nilang merong 10 billion na pondo para modernize.
Para ayusin yung-
Wala yun. Kaya, pero dahan-dahan, there are even areas, 12 pesos na lang yung buying price. Halos katapat na lang nung cost of production.
Absent ba NFA?
Tanong ko si Kong, how do you feel about federalism? Kasi kung maging minority leader si Congressman Zarate,
Well, you know, Ruth, to be a minority
even
leader,
taxes pala.
you should maintain an independent mind. You are neither opposition nor administration. You should always stay at the middle and maintain your balance, what is good for the country and what is bad for the country. Because if you are an opposition and you become a minority leader, you might be guided, and that's the danger. You might be guided by your political affiliation, your political ideology, and your ideology itself. That's why I say that to be a good minority, you should maintain your balance. You are neither an opposition, neither should you be a minority, a destructive minority. What is acceptable to me is a collaborative, critical collaboration, not a destructive collaboration.
Naku, kating-kating na
Hindi, pero let's take a break first kasi titingnan natin kung anong reaction ni Kong Zarate dun sa inyong description ng tamang minority leader. We'll continue the discussion after a short break. Stay with us. Hanggang ngayon. You're watching On the Record on CNN Philippines. Kong Zarate, sinasabi ni Kong Castro, pag minority leader, dapat daw critical collaboration, not destructive, or nasa gitna lang daw.
You know, ang Makabayan Black, naging part na rin kami ng majority, naging part kami ng minority. No? Kailangan lang guided ka by your principles and ideology for the people. No? Yun naman palagi ang tindig ng Makabayan Black. No? Maging nasa minority kami or sa majority, kailangan titindig kami para kung saan yung tingin namin ay para sa kagalingan at kahingian ng mamamayan. No? So as a minority leader, ganun dapat. No? Hindi pwedeng wala kang tinitindigan. No? Papaling-paling lang tayo. Dapat malinaw na kung magkaroon ng checks and balances dito sa House, ay dapat may tindig talaga. No? Yung
kukontra kung kailangan.
Kung dapat kontrahin. Kung dapat namang mag-collaborate, dapat. No, halimbawa, nung nasa 17th Congress, nung ipinasa namin yung free tuition law, no? Yung
Hindi kayo tumayo.
Free Irrigation Service Act, at marami, no? Na sa tingin namin ay nakabubuti talaga ito sa mamamayan, ay kasama kami ng majority. Pero nung train, nung sinagasa yung train, siyam lang kami ang bumoto doon, 7 ang Makabayan Black. Ngayon, nung sumunod na taon, ramdam yung nangyari sa train. Dito rin sa rice tarification, ilan lang kami bumoto. Tapos ngayon, nakita na rin natin yung epekto. So, gano'n naman ang magiging tindig natin kung sakasakaling nasa minority dahil natalo sa speakership, di na nasa minority kami. Eh di titindig pa rin tayo para sa interes ng mamamayan.
Okay, sayang but we're on the last stretch of our program. So very interesting discussion, maybe more interesting kung anong mangyayari sa Monday. What can we expect on Monday and for the rest of 18th Congress from our congressmen?
I think let us see what is to become, no? While they were saying tapos na ang boxing, sa tingin ko is magsisimula pa lang yung boxing, no? At kahit may napili ng speaker diyan, magtuloy-tuloy pa rin yung clashes, no, ng mga faction because there is now a war of dominance papunta doon sa 2022 ng different groups and factions within the supermajority. So, let us see. No?
In terms of legislation, Kong?
In terms of legislation, kami naman itutulak namin yung mga major agenda namin, no, that will, halimbawa doon sa wage, yung about the paglaban doon sa taxes, no, agrarian reform, pension, no, pension reform, itutulak namin yun.
Okay.
Mas interesado ako sa sasabihin ng Pangulo. Sana ang gusto kong marinig ay is a higher ambition based forged on the national will. At yung worldview niya, pananaw niya kung saan niya dadalhin ng bansa, given his 87% approval rating. Interesado din po ako sa inaugural speech ni Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano para makita natin kung ano yung mga how they will interact in terms of the dynamics of reform. Kasi this is not just the House of Duterte, this is the House of Reforms.
I am expecting a pro-people legislation. It's not because it is the stand of an individual congressman to be pro-people. It should be pro-people in contents and quality. Not it's because of, it is the principle of the one pushing for this legislation. And one more important is, I am expecting Congressman Zarate to vote for me as minority leader.
Gugulatin niyo po ba ang sambayanan sa Monday? Will we expect...
Because he will also vote for me.
Yeah, will we expect you guys to behave or may kuba? Can you give us a clue?
Mas interesting talaga kung ano mangyayari sa minority. Pagdating sa speaker, majority leader, I think pretty much it's settled. So,
kayo, Kong?
it's what Zarate does.
Lalaban ba kayo?
Nakatindig ang Makabayan Black, no? Sabi nga namin, ito ay tindig para rin sa tingin namin, para sa interes ng mamamayan. At wala tayong uurungan kung tingin natin ay para ito sa mamamayan.
Okay, thank you very much for our guests for tonight. That's On the Record this week. Thanks for watching. I'm Ruth Cabal.